Hi, everybody. My name is Buddy Gott. Welcome to episode 40. It's a milestone episode 40 of Buddy's Writing Show. Oh, look, there's a milestone type face there from my guest, Mr. Xavier Granville. Welcome to the show. I think it was about a year ago that you were first on the show, because I think back then we were talking about National Novel Writing Month in that show. So it's kind of cool that you're back in November of this year, because, boy, a lot's happened in the past year. And first and foremost among that is that you released your first novel just last week, and that would be The Curse of the Diamond Heart, which is book 1 of the Dinosaur Noir series. Correct, sir?
This is all correct. You have spoken very true, almost verbatim.
Oh, wow.
You're following the script right according to as I wrote it. So
I kind of rock that way.
Yeah, Buddy Gott, it has been a while.
It has been a while. And, obviously I know you, but for those who don't know you, maybe you could tell the viewers a little bit about yourself. I'm looking at my notes here, and what I think a lot of people are going to be surprised to hear is that in your full-time job, you're a Catholic priest. I mean, is that correct? Is that what I have here?
Yeah, completely true. I've been on... I've been on mission for the past 3 weeks. I visited Rome. I visited Argentina. Lovely Argentina. Don't cry for me. But now I'm back to the humble life of being a freelance author and animator and screenwriter and.
You're a musician? People could see like a little keyboard thing in the back there.
Yeah, two keyboards. There's one keyboard. There's another keyboard. There's 2 guitars over there. All that too. And recently, cover design. I've been getting into that, so that's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. So hey, let's talk about Dinosaur Noir, because I've known about this for a while, and I was one of the fortunate ones who actually got to read like an earlier version of what you'd released last week, and I loved it. We talked about that a while ago, so I'm excited for you. So can you tell people a little bit about what you got going on here? Because it sure is unique.
Yeah, sure. The easiest way to boil it down is that it's a 6.5 foot tall lizard private detective in Los Angeles. It's in a world that's kind of mirroring ours in the 1940s. So it feels like a 1940s style pulp novel. But in this alternate world where not only are there humans, but also there are these 5 different lizard races that have all evolved alongside of humans. So, as much as, we as humans have our different races and different cultures and stuff like that, so do the lizards, and, we've all kind of amalgamated, and there's different areas of the world where, certain of them live, and whether or not they're, they get along or not. So it's very much just kind of like a reflection of, today's society and also that of the 40s, as much as it is of just, an interesting way to, twist history.
And what's really cool about it is, it's, like I said, I had read it, and the main character is Rick Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, Rick Tyrannosaurus McCoy.
Oh, McCoy. What the hell was I thinking? Okay, yeah.
Well, Tyrannosaurus Rex just rolls off the tongue.
It just rolled off the tongue. It just rolled off the tongue. Yeah, Rick
rolled.
It rolled. I can't do that.
Then you must suck at a Scottish accent.
I do. I'm going to be taking classes for that, though, at the winter session at my college. So, they probably don't offer that up your way.
No, well, the problem is that we have winter sessions all year long. That's the real problem.
That's true.
Up in Canada.
What I was about to say, though, about Mr. McCoy is that it's cool reading the book, because it's like you're reading, something like from the old days, like a Sam Spade type story, and that's a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun to know it's a dinosaur.
Mm-hmm. Well, this kind of, this is, millions of years of evolution. So this is like a common day dinosaur of what, what would be a representative of what you would see of like a fully evolved lizard if they evolved to the state of like how humans have evolved. Right. So, and also, and yeah, he's, this smart aleck guy, smokes constantly, has the fedora, really bad attitude, and he's this guy who's much like any kind of the pulp style film noir detectives back in the day. He's kind of thrown in the middle of this case that he didn't really expect, and he's kind of forced to make these decisions and unravel these mysteries that really just get weirder and more out there the further that it goes. And this is coming from a guy who is a 6.5 foot tall lizard, so that's what and that's what makes it really interesting, because you kind of go into the story and you have to just immediately disregard the fact that there are lizards walking around, and that's just normal. And
Right.
you have to immediately disregard that, because otherwise it's just a regular thrilling mystery novel that has multiple different things going on, and just uncovering all these lies and deceptions, and ultimately this big conspiracy that threatens the entire city of Los Angeles, and maybe the entire world.
Right, right. And I'm wary of saying too much of the story, because there is something that the readers are going to be kind of hit with, and they're going to be like, "Whoa."
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
and I've gotten some questions about this even beforehand, because there's people asking me, like, so Xavier, why is Dinosaur Noir in the vampire mystery category on KDP, or why is it in Alien Invasion? And I just end up saying, well, read the book.
There you go. I think that's the best way for the readers to figure that out. And
Yeah.
one thing I got to ask you, though, is, I mean, like I said earlier, and anyone who's watching this or has checked out the book knows, I mean, this is a very, very, very clever and unique idea. How did this come to you? I mean, how did you think, I'm going to write about a detective who's a dinosaur? I mean, how did this pop into your head?
Well, it started last year, pre NaNoWriMo, and this was when I was just really starting to connect with a lot of authors online, and just kind of digging my teeth into the new world that is self-publishing and freelance writing and all this stuff. So when I was trying to come up with just different writing exercises and ways that I could just motivate myself to write, or otherwise kind of come up with ideas, I'd always heard about writing prompts, and I'd had a lot of good experience with those when I was working with short films in the past, because a lot of times when I worked on a film competition, they would give a certain criteria that we'd have to hit. So whether or not the script revolved around a certain theme, or a word, or a set of piece of dialogue, or something like that. So I was trying to I liked how that kind of motivated me in the past, because we were given these restrictions, and that kind of gave me this area to play with, but at the same time not letting me go off into some dungeon and end up coming up with way too many things and never getting anything actually written.
Right.
So when I was starting with at the time I was writing a novel called Now Hiring, which still needs to be reworked, and that one's going to be coming out hopefully in the spring.
Oh, great. I remember I remember hearing about Now Hiring quite some time ago. That sounds like
Yeah.
a good too.
Yeah, that one's like a horror book.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time when I was writing that novel, and I was just kind of really deep into it, but also trying to think of ways to write some other things to just to be more proactive in the writing. I came up with an idea to do 12 short stories, all based on 4-word prompts. So I would just grab a dictionary, or I would grab different books and just grab random words out of just different places and different things, and then I would just use this program where I scattered them and just realigned them all, just kind of shuffled them all up, and ended up with 12 of these 4-word little sections, and one of them ended up having the 4-word description. It had to have dinosaurs. It had to have a private detective. It had to have robots, and it had to have aliens.
Awesome, awesome.
So I started thinking about just the idea of a dinosaur private detective. And so I started writing that short story. And around the time that I had first kind of, started letting people aware of the fact that I was writing this while I was writing this other novel, more attention started being given towards the dinosaur thing, and I blame and thank you for a lot of that too, because I remember you were one of the first people who would just stumbling on my blog and just said, "What's this Dinosaur Noir thing? I want to read that book." Like,
Yeah, it just
set aside all this other serious stuff, but like, tell me about that. um, and I was getting all these just different comments from people, whether it was like in joking, just being like, I can't wait to see this book because I bet you it's going to be ridiculous, or some people just saying this sounds actually fascinating, or just people, no matter what, it was always feedback, and I started to recognize that, and it's I remember what's Paul Rubens was talking about, yeah, how he had taken upon the character of Pee Wee Herman,
mhm.
and how that eventually just became him, and how he had all these different comedy personas and characters that he had always done in the Groundlings and all these upstart comedy routines back in the day, with Phil Hartman and all these guys. And he was always being told by Phil Hartman and all these guys, is like, don't sell out. Why are you doing Pee Wee Herman? It's like, because that's the guy that people want to see.
Right, right.
Like it's not nothing to do with me. It's the fact that people are asking for it.
Hmm. Cool, very cool. Yeah, and well, I remember that because you said you were doing NaNoWriMo, and
Hmm.
you got pretty far into one book, right? Then you figured, okay, I've just got to write Dinosaur Noir. Was that?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it's just, yeah,
yeah.
because I had mostly finished Now Hiring, and I was poised to start something new for NaNoWriMo,
Hmm.
and so I went in to have I had all this prep done going into NaNoWriMo last year for this other book that I still haven't written,
Hmm.
and still have the prep all done, but it still sits there.
Right.
But I the next day, November 1st, I woke up and just said, I'm writing Dinosaur Noir. Like, I have to write this because I can't picture going through the rest of these 30 days and just, really having to buckle down on this dark fantasy that I was working on. It's, with all these different social layers of all these, different systems between different hierarchies of class and all this stuff. I was going to make this really ridiculous a fantasy world, and I said, I can't do this in 30 days.
Yeah.
I'm going to write about a dinosaur detective.
Now, was that the first time? And I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about NaNoWriMo because we're it's November 4th right now, and obviously, a lot of people are digging into it, into National Novel Writing Month. And so, how did you last year when you did this? Was that your first attempt at it, or had you done it previously?
Yeah, it was my first attempt, and I really wouldn't have felt so like keen on doing it if I hadn't gone out on there was the night before Nano, when I was living in Toronto last year. There was a meetup that I went to, and there was a good like 200 or 300 people there, just writers that
Wow.
were all starting Nano the next day. And obviously, I connected with some people, forgot names, and traded emails and what have you. But it was just the fact that everyone's going out to this meal, because it was all at like this Mexican restaurant, and everyone was just talking, and they were passing around little writing exercises, things like that.
Right.
Just people having fun, and like that was what was really drawing to me about it, the fact that it was a community, and it's that group mentality of like we're all in this together, and that's that for authors, that's it's pretty foreign because you're kind of sheltered away and you're doing you're working on your craft, and you really have to kind of shut yourself out for the most part when it comes to that. That's why people end up locking the doors with the headphones on and stuff like that.
Right,
So
exactly.
the process of writing, not so much the brainstorming, can be a pretty lonely process. So it's good that there's these places, and Nano and stuff like that, where people can actually go out of their homes and do the write-ins where in whatever area that you are, because each major city will usually have their local chapter of NaNoWriMo.
Yeah, and even like your smaller places. I live in Delaware, the second smallest state, and I mean they have all kinds of things even around here.
Yeah.
People are into it. I mean, it's grown so much. I guess, do you know how long it's been? I know it's over 10 years now, I guess.
Yeah,
it's
it's
much
something like that.
But yeah.
No, and I wish that I had heard about it earlier, because I'd always been doing short stories. So who knows? Back in the day, if I had actually started pursuing this earlier.
But things happen for a reason, and if you had done it differently, we might not have Dinosaur Noir. Glad things worked out.
Okay. I see where you're going with this.
But it was a happy thing. Because I'm happy to have the book, and not just because my name's in the acknowledgments.
Yeah, no,
I thank you for that. That was very nice.
Yeah, I did make a mistake though in the acknowledgments.
I think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah. Am I the first on air to be able to congratulate you and the new Mrs. Buddy got?
You are, and I thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's true for anyone who's watching live and had not heard it from my other places I posted. I got married on Friday, October 31st, which was also, I got married to the former L.M. Stull, Lisa Stull. Some of you may know her. She has a couple of books out. And it was her birthday. We got married on her birthday. So yeah, she's the first one to mention this on air. So I thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Great. Good. I wanted to do that. All right.
Yeah, she's awesome.
So back to NaNoWriMo.
Yeah, back to NaNoWriMo.
I was on the day one of Nano this year. Oh, sorry, I skipped all over everything. So, so last year, found the community of people in Toronto, all great writers, and everyone was really supportive. And then we ended up, there was like, you can go out for drinks with people and stuff like that. And so for that month of November, I didn't go out to many of the events, but it was really neat to know that at any time while I was writing, that there were these places that I could go that other people were writing that I could easily just kind of go in and mesh with.
Right. I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say one of the things that is wonderful about it is even if you don't go to the write-ins, I mean, you have like all kinds of their message boards and everything online. Yeah. It is this great community. I'm not
exactly.
Here, but I've done it in years past, and you really have other people, kind of support you, and it's wonderful. It is great, especially if you're new to writing and you have doubts. I mean, you get a ton of other people in there who have doubts too, and that's one of the great things is that you got a month, you've got to dive into it, and it's pretty awesome. It's a great way to write.
Oh yeah, and exactly, self-doubt is probably the number one condition of authors or anyone creative, really. With caring about your art comes neuroses. You're gonna be concerned about these things if they are precious to you. So don't think that you're alone in feeling that you have to rip up that last manuscript because you really thought it was just shit. That's not uncommon, and it's to be expected. So that's what's great about these communities online, and what's great about NaNoWriMo and places like that. You can actually connect with other people, and if you are having those days where something a certain paragraph is just not cutting it, post to a forum. Get someone else to tell you it's bad, because at least then you'll know for sure. Or otherwise, someone's going to tell you that's good, and you won't feel bad anymore. Like that's what these places are for, and that's what just being open is for.
Exactly, exactly. And just out of curiosity, how far did you get with it then last November? Because the goal for Nano, I know, is 50,000 words in 30 days.
hmm Yeah, no, I did the 50,000 in 30 days.
Wow, that's very commendable. That's awesome.
Well, if you,
I think I know where you're going with this.
there was a guy the other night who and last year as well who's done the 50,000 words in 24 hours.
Wow. Okay, I didn't hear. I heard about him from last year. How was that possible? It's hard to.
Yeah,
either way, I mean, even if you're typing gibberish for wow.
Yeah, I know, but that's just it, and he does say that it's like an unfinished manuscript. Both years he's produced unfinished manuscripts. So,
Right.
but in the end, 50,000 words, in a single day is absolutely ridiculous. It's not like you can do it, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to put my body.
Yeah, yeah, that's hell on you, and but yeah, even if it's a lot of it is unusable, you're still going to get some gems out of that because we've all
Yeah.
done. Everyone who writes, I mean, you kind of do like these binge marathon writing sessions, and I can have like 10 pages, and I end up scrapping like 8 of them. But there's maybe some good lines here and there, and it's worth it. You get a few things out of there you're proud of and happy with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had finished the 50K for NaNoWriMo, and after finishing the 50K, I hadn't finished the book. Like I hadn't written to the end of Dinosaur Noir. I had still another 2 or something chapters left, and so the next couple of weeks, I went off to finish the rest of that. So, and it ended up being around 70,000 words altogether. So I wrote another 20K in another couple of weeks after that, and then I was reading over it for several months, and then sending it off to beta readers, yourself included, buddy.
Right.
It's I've had it given back to me, and then I had added another 11,000 words to it. Sent it out again to a couple beta readers who were pretty quick to get that back to me as well. And then after the second round of beta reading, I finally decided if I'm going to actually take myself seriously as an author as much as I'd hope my fans will, then I decided to hire an editor. So I went scouring the interwebs for such a man, and I ended up finding Jason Whited through the SPP guys.
Yeah, I've heard some nice things about Jason.
Yeah, Jason's great. He's really good at just getting things done fast, and just really efficient. And the one thing that I always like about getting an email from Jason is that he's always so excited. Because there wasn't like a single email I got from him that wasn't just like, "This is an amazing book."
Wow,
And
that's awesome. That's got to make you feel great.
yeah, exactly. And as much as I can say, when he's like, this is one of the best books I've edited in years, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know how many books you edit per year, but
so that's great.
well, and that's just it. Like I always have that jaded optimism thing, like I hope for the best, I expect the worst.
Well, I'm excited for you, and so like I said, it did come out last week, and now it's the start of a series. Do you have in your mind how many books you're going to have in the series, or is it going to be a set amount, or are you just going to ongoing?
Well, it's foreseably ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
I had originally envisioned 7. I have 3 that are like completely like idealized of what's going to happen. And like I said, I'm right for NaNoWriMo this year. I'm writing the second book,
Awesome.
Dinosaur Noir 2: Dark Waters Rising.
Oh, that's a good title. It's a really good title.
Yeah, and I was really happy the other day when I was watching Doctor Who, and the recent episode was titled Dark Waters. So I was like, oh, okay, I can Stephen Moffat. You get it.
You know what? You kind of like cut out for just a second. What was the exact title of the Doctor Who episode again? Say it.
Simply Dark Waters.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty neat. After like it's been about two or 3 months where I had kind of came up with that title and really started digging into that outline. And so it was cool the other day when I was watching the Doctor Who episode, which was a fantastic episode for the first part of the 2-part series finale.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. But
yeah. Oh boy, you are going to, I don't know. You might freak out.
Let's viewers, bear with us here for a second. Let's just talk for a minute or so about the current season of Doctor Who.
All right.
Have you liked it in general? I know you have.
Yeah, it's definitely. There was there was parts of like the first few episodes that I wasn't a huge fan of, and I really wasn't a huge fan of that. I think it was the 4th episode. I can't remember what it was called, but where they went back in time and they found Danny Pink's younger self and the monster underneath the blanket. Like that episode, I thought was a little too convoluted for my tastes. And a lot of that I think is just Stephen Moffat sitting back being like, I'm so clever, but I don't know, like there's the one episode that I really liked was the Mummy on the Orient Express.
Yes, that was very good. I liked
that was intense, and I loved there was a nice little part where Capaldi did a quick little voice change to Tom Baker era Doctor, and had a little conversation with himself of doctor to doctor kind of a thing.
Oh, I'm not. I somehow must have missed out on that. I gotta watch that again. But yeah. I wasn't. We talked about it earlier in the season. I wasn't crazy about it the first few episodes, but the last few episodes, I'm there now. I'm there now. I like it now, and it's not that I disliked Capaldi. I think he was fine. I think it seemed like they were having a hard time, to me anyway, defining exactly who this new Doctor was, like what his personality was. And I guess that's understandable to a degree. I mean, everyone's trying to feel it all out, but yeah, I like it now, and now you got me excited to watch the first part of the season finale.
Yeah, and the second part's gonna be airing this Saturday, so I have been waiting bated breath.
Awesome. Well, let's get back to your stuff here. We were talking about National Novel Writing Month. You did a great posting on your blog the other day.
Right. Yeah.
And it was you want to tell the viewers about that? Because I read it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think
sure.
It's great advice.
Yeah. So I was sitting there on October 31st, Halloween, and then after the book had been out for 3 days, and I had kind of realized to myself that, like, holy crap, I started writing this book, a year tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I had started writing it a year ago. So I said, I got to do something. So, with the start of Nano and the fact that I just came out with the book that I originally started writing for Nano, I decided, hey, why don't I make the book free for a day, and write a blog post about just my experience of doing it last year and the things that I took from it that really I would say would apply to all writers attempting to do it.
Very cool. Yeah, it's a great posting, and it's I don't know how much more you want to say about it now. I think people should definitely check it out on your site, which conveniently is under your name.
Yeah, I'll just quickly go over the top 5 things.
Yeah, perfect.
So number 1 I said was outlining. So a lot of people, you go with the pantsing method, do just kind of feeling it out and writing things as they go to you, and that's fine. I don't, I'm not gonna ever say that there's one way to go about writing. But when you're doing it for a competition that requires you to get a word count of 50,000 by the end of 30 days, I would recommend you at least have done some level of outlining, and the more the better. And it, in the end, I think you're setting yourself up for a road of troubles if you're not knowing your story already.
Yeah, I agree with you that the very first time I attempted NaNoWriMo, it was probably close to 10 years ago, and it was a murder mystery. And I pretty much knew who the character was and knew who the bad guy was, but there was a hell of a lot I didn't know. And I had to stop. Like, I think I stopped like 30,000 some words into it just because, I didn't outline it all. And,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, you do kind of set yourself up for that. Nothing against people who do it that way, but I think especially if it's something like a mystery, you better have a pretty good idea where you're going if you're going to write
Yeah.
that much in such a short period of time.
Yeah, especially with mystery, because then you're going into like these kind of established things like the MacGuffin and the like red herrings and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So you have to kind of know these certain lores and cliches. Well, not cliches, but you know what I mean. Where certain things that you have to follow, despite the fact that you're changing it slightly.
Right, right.
Okay, so the second thing that I recommend for NaNoWriMo is to know your ending first, and that's part and parcel to the outlining. But that's the one thing I recommend to those people that are going to still, despite me saying outlining, are just going to go into it and pants anyways. So the one thing that I can say to anyone who's not going to do any outlining is that you should know your ending at least, and that's more important than knowing how your book begins, because it's so much easier if you know where you're going than instead of knowing where you're starting, because it's easy to just describe a room, your character's there, but if you don't know where he's going from that room, uh, and from where he goes from that room to the next thing, like you need to have that point where you're going to always, and
Right.
that's really important. And I find it's actually really a lot easier to start coming up with your story if you start thinking of it backwards forwards.
Hmm.
Um, and I gave the example of Harry Potter on the blog post. So the idea is that like you want to write a book about a kid who grows up to become the world's greatest wizard, and he defeats the Dark Lord of all evil. Like that's a great premise, and that's a great ending.
Hmm.
So the best way to create contrast in your story is if your character is the hero in the end, and his life is awesome. The best way to by contrast create an effective intro is that his life is crap at the beginning of the book.
Right, right.
And that's why Harry Potter works so well with that example. But you can apply it with anything. So the idea is that you slowly as you and then you create the opposite, and that's because that's your beginning, and then from there you find that middle point that where something has to happen between these two things to
Hmm.
get them to happen.
Right.
And from there, so you just come up with something that goes right there. And then from there, there's going to be you have two different little events that'll probably happen in between those two midsections. So you just create that would probably happen that would lead to that middle, and what events that would lead from that middle to that end. And it's a lot easier that way than just starting from part one and then hoping that you get to part 12.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. Some great stuff here, and I know you got a little bit more.
Yeah, number 3, health. This seems like pretty obvious, right?
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
health
it,
is very important. You want to do things that are not, bad for you and stuff.
yeah. Well, I will not. I will not judge. I smoke as well. So,
Yes. Okay.
but no, and this comes down to like I'm not going to lecture people on anything in general, but what you should know when you're going into any kind of like competition or some kind of trial for yourself, you're trying to test yourself. So if you're trying to test yourself and you're trying to push yourself to the limit, uh, buying a one of those 4 packs of O. Henry bars and eating them all in one sitting that might not be proper fuel for trying to get that 1,666 words done per day.
Right, exactly. And I know for me too, a lot of times when I seem to be doing my best with the writing, and it is when I'm despite the smoking and all that, is when I am taking better care of myself. And for me, I'm an avid walker. I like walking a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I might even get kind of in a spot in the story where I'm stuck. I go for a walk for a half hour. Besides the physical benefits it has, it's a good opportunity for you to kind of like clear your mind, and maybe and it's helped me a lot with my writing. I figure out the problem stuff and be like, go back to writing afterwards.
Yeah, no, and there's something to that whole putting things off in the back of your head. Einstein came up with a lot of his greatest ideas while working in the patent office. It's not because he was smarter then and then, or whatever, or had his breakthroughs then. It's because his mind was occupied on other things at the time and had that opportunity of in the background be mulling over something.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, like what I was saying, like just try to eat as healthy as you can. Like fruits and vegetables. Low carbs. All that stuff that and what your doctor will tell you, what a nutritionist will shove down your throat. So just be smart about it, and yourself. Like that's the best thing I could say. Like when you're feeling bad, and start making some connections between the days that you are feeling bad and what you're putting into your system when you do.
Exactly. That's wonderful advice. It is. And that was
Uh,
number 3 or 4.
that was number 3. You got 2 more.
Okay.
Okay, so number 4, and this one's really quick. Do not self-edit. Just put it out there. Just write. Just type it. Just do not just do not hit delete. Do not hit backspace. Cut it out. I'm not joking. It's you need to keep just like verbal diarrhea, like just me rambling right now. That's what you need to be doing with your fingers. Like
Exactly.
you need to turn off the sensor for a little while, because otherwise you're going to spend way too much time nitpicking over every little tiny thing. And if you're going to be doing that, you're going to spend so much time doing that nitpicking that you're just not going to get the same amount of words done that if you were just ignoring it. If you end up typing that your character's eyes are blue in one scene but remember that they're brown, don't change that when you still have words to type. Do that when the challenge is over. When the 30 days is up. Go back later and finish all your stuff. It's a writing contest.
Right.
It's not an editing contest.
Yeah, exactly. And I know for others too. I had this piece of advice when I tried it. Was like, don't get hung up on spending 10 minutes trying to think of a character's name. Just hell, just put anything. Blue shirt guy. Whatever. You can change that later on. And one thing I'd like to point out too is that even though you wrote this for national, for NaNoWriMo, I mean, I think all of these things that you're saying are great advice for anyone who's attempting to write a book, especially if you are trying to write it for the first time. You want to get that first
totally
done. Yeah, so don't think it's just for NaNoWriMo viewers. I mean, you could do this for yourself at any time. And wonderful advice.
Yeah. Who would know that the same advice that you could give for writing competition is what you'd give for writing in general?
Mm-hmm. Right.
On that note, just the last point from my top 5 things to remember when going ahead with NaNoWriMo that makes you smile and have fun with it. Like, don't go into something that is daunting to you. Like, don't,
Exactly.
if you are afraid of your novel, then like you've lost the battle. It's over. You're not going to get anything done because it owns you. You do not own it. You need to show some balls and either buck up and get the words done or write something else.
Exactly.
Most of the time it comes down to write something else when it comes to these things.
Right.
And writing isn't easy. So don't make it harder on yourself by doing something that you don't enjoy, because you're supposed to be enjoying the writing, and you're supposed to be enjoying that creation process and getting it out and the feedback from people. So what I would recommend is, on top of things that make you smile, look things that will make other people smile, and something that you'd want to give out to the world, and you know as a gift. Try to think of these things as, you're putting this gift out into the world. This is a piece of you, so make it something that's you, and make it wholesome, and make it true. Like, as much as a dinosaur detective novel is pretty ridiculous, it is me, and I'm giving it to the world, and that's the whole point.
Right. And on behalf of the world, I say thank you, because I have read it, and I think it's great, and I wish you the best of luck with it. And I think the stuff that you had there in that posting that you did, great advice. And I
Thanks,
especially
buddy.
love that last one. You have fun with it. It is supposed to be, yeah, you want your stuff out there, you want people to like it, and I think sometimes we stress too much about, oh, some people might not like it, and what, you got to be happy for yourself. Chances are, if you wrote it, you're proud of it, you like it, you're going to find others that like it. If you
Yeah.
have that joy while you're writing it, it's very unlikely that other people aren't going to pick up on that joy that you put into it.
Yeah, exactly. Because readers are empathic. If you write it correctly, they're going to pick up on how things were at the time when you were writing it. That's why people say that you can psychoanalyze an author by reading their first book. It's like, this is what this guy was going through at the time.
Right, exactly.
And this is true. Like, if you don't think that you as a person doesn't leak onto the page, then you're wrong. It's very true. But you need to keep this in mind, and what foot you're putting forward. And that's, you always see the people who are classified as this of a young aspiring author as this dark and brooding type of guy that's hiding in the back of like a French jazz club, with a clove cigarette, and he's just working on my dark masterpiece.
It's me in my
So
20s.
yeah, it was me in my 20s. It's me right now. But but that's what I mean. Like, you can't, like, if it is your masterpiece or your opus, and it's never going to be anything to anyone else
Hmm.
until you've proven that they want to read your opus.
Right.
Don't start out with that. Do something that is going to be fun for you as much as it is for someone else who's just going to be picking it up randomly off of a flea market book sale for 50 cents.
Right.
Think about that guy. Like do consider, like, the fact that this stuff that that in years time, the art will last on, and it's going to make impressions on people that you will never have met or ever even considered.
Right. And that adds to the awesomeness of the whole experience. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's true. Like, like any who knows how any of the great authors of history would have, viewed how they've been taken, and their works have been taken, in the years later,
Yeah, well, so many, you hear our stories all the time about how, writers, artists, they died in poverty. Their art wasn't appreciated while they were alive, and then, obviously, we prefer that, we're going to hear some good things while we're alive,
Obviously.
but you're like you said, the stuff it's there forever. You create your art, it's there forever.
Yeah, exactly.
To be exposed to, which is
Yeah.
wonderful. I've enjoyed talking with you so much. I've kind of ignored the fact that we did have some comments during the show.
Yeah, I wasn't looking.
Yeah, but that's okay. Just real quickly, for those who checked in, thank you so much. Patrick Stemp had checked in. He just wanted to pretty much say hey. Melissa Donovan was here, and
oh, cool.
To say hi, and she congratulated me on my wedding. Thank you very much, Melissa. And I thought of Melissa earlier while you were talking about writing prompts and all that, because Melissa's got a writing prompts book out.
Yeah, she does.
And if you're an aspiring writer, go check out Melissa Donovan or check out Writing Forward, her website. It's great. She's on Facebook too. MGon, he thanked you for the book that you gave him for a birthday present.
Yeah, no, I saw it was his birthday, so and it was the day of NaNoWriMo, so I said, hey, happy birthday, grab this free copy.
And MGN was agreeing here. He said that you use up valuable writing energy when nitpicking.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the advice you gave, it is true.
Yeah.
You can. Yes, there's a time for the nitpicking later on when you're you got to do your editing, but
yeah, exactly.
And get it down, get your ideas onto paper or onto the screen, and that's the best way to do it. Yes, you might get rid of some of it, but so what? You did it. You still wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go through and work on it, fix it up.
Yeah, you're writing a rough draft in 30 days, and don't try to make it a polished draft, because you'll be able to do that later, and not only that, you'll be able to hire an editor if you can, and they're going to do a hell of a lot better job nitpicking than you are.
Exactly. Hey, and maybe they should check out Jason Whited.
Yeah, Jason Whited, jason-whited.com.
There you go. Hey,
don't forget the dash.
Don't forget that dash, people.
He will break my legs if I do not include the dash.
All right, and I don't even really know Jason, but now I'm afraid he's going to break my legs, so I'm going to put that in the show notes.
Yeah, well, he's from Las Vegas, so that enough said.
Yeah, enough said. Okay, well, let's wrap this one up, my friend. But congratulations, big congratulations to you.
Congratulations, big congratulations to you.
Well, thank you. I encourage everyone to check out The Curse of the Diamond Heart, Book 1 of the Dinosaur Noir series, and I'm sure Xavier will be back on the show when the other books come out in the series. I would hope so.
Hoping to have Book 2 out by the new year. I'm hoping to have it out. I was hoping to have it out before Christmas, but we might be looking at a January 1st if possible.
Okay, very cool. Will you keep us abreast of that situation?
I will.
Okay. Everyone who's watched the show live or later on, sometime in the future, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back again soon. If you're new to the show, I do a new show just about every week. I skipped a week or so because, that whole getting married thing, which is wonderful. I love it. But, please consider subscribing to the channel for future episodes of Buddy's Writing Show. Xavier, thank you again, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
You're very welcome. Everyone, take care, and I'll see you soon.
Goodbye, Internet.